Welcome back. All right, so we just finished the Women's World Championship. I want to talk about the gold medal game between Canada and the U.S. That's right, magnets for everything. I'd like to thank Lars for the magnets with the nation's flags on them. And I got them. It seems like ages ago, but that's the thing. People send stuff, and I go, all right, I'll use that later. And we're about 7 months out from the Olympics, where undoubtedly these are the two most likely countries to play each other in the gold medal game in the Olympics. Now, the U.S. was coming into this having won 8 out of 9 championships. This is a rivalry where the U.S. has owned it for a while. Canada hadn't won a gold medal since 2012. So right away, before the games even started, they're talking about how the 5-1 loss that the U.S. suffered against Canada in the round robin was a wake-up call. And clearly it was. This was a far better American team. They iced it 7 seconds in. They iced it 30 seconds in. There seems to be some nerves on both sides of the ice early. But then there was a coin steal. Desbiens makes the save on the first shot of the game. So the U.S. does get that first shot. Tight checking early on by the U.S. Some good shot blocking as well. They controlled the pace for most of the first 5 minutes, even though at 5.5 minutes the shots are 2-1 Canada. It really felt like the States was playing a very smart game, and that the shot totals not really important at this stage. Keller knocked down Spooner. There was no call. There was a lot of body checking back and forth tonight that wasn't getting called. And this was definitely a battle between two teams that don't really like each other, and I think they appreciated that the referees let it go a little bit. Hensley was sharp in the U.S. net. She actually was recognized for that after the game, and I agree with that. Johnston had a net drive as the game opened up. Shots were 4-1 for Canada, 7.5 minutes in. The U.S. press at 8 minutes. Canada with some shot blocks, but just before we reach the halfway mark of the first period, the U.S. scores. It's Carpenter from Kessel and Eden at 9:55. And it was the result of a really strong forecheck and some good pressure by the Americans. So we're halfway through the first. It's 1-0 for the U.S. U.S. throwing body checks, and at 11 minutes and 22 seconds, the U.S. gets the first power play. So the back and forth gets a little bit tough, and the U.S. ends up drawing the first of what would be a lot of power plays tonight. Carpenter would score during that power play at 12:35 from Steckline and Panic. And I'm glad there's a panic in this too, that I can have a panic index for women and for men. That's perfect. In fact, that I may look up pictures of panic and say, you know what, I can use that for the panic index too. So one of those things, right? Pulan then with a fast break. Bach couldn't bury one. The shots were 6-6 with 5 minutes left. So the U.S. played better in that second half, as the 2-0 score would tell you. Post then for Canada. Hensley covers it. U.S. pressed again on the next shift. U.S. cutting off Canada's breaks. Pretty solid counterattack by the Americans as well. And the pass interceptions were on point. 6.8 seconds left. Big save by Desbiens. And it felt like they were game savers already. Like if the Americans go up 3-0, this game's probably over. Cross checks as well at the Canadian net. So there's some cross checking going on. There's some body checking going on. But it's 2-0 USA after the first. And not only do my notes get neater for the rest of the game, which I thought was funny when I was looking at this board, and I was like, okay, so after the first period where my notes are a little bit all over and kind of not straight, then I get back into it. It takes me a period to get back into it too. So there you go. Consider this a warm-up for what's coming in a few weeks when the preseason for the NHL starts. So you go to the second period. U.S. gets off to a fast start. More calls not being made. Both teams are letting it go. Back and forth chances. U.S. blocking net drives. Middle of the ice as well. Carpenter almost gets that hat trick. There were numerous times in this game where Carpenter was close to another goal. And the intense U.S. looking for that third goal. Understanding this would likely be enough to close this game out. The idea that Canada could score 3, it's there, but it's difficult against this U.S. team. At 3:07, Canada gets a power play. Now, the Canadian power play was 3 for 23 coming into this game. So, not great numbers. Doesn't matter. They score on that power play at 4 minutes and 13 seconds. It's Jenner scoring from Pulan and Phillip. And Phillip attracting a lot of attention throughout this tournament, rightfully so. Phillip looks like she's going to be a star for the Canadians. Desbiens then makes a save as the U.S. did push back. Phillip then drives one wide. The momentum, it felt like it shifted, and the heat was amped up in that second period. These two teams really don't like one another. Rattray would tie it up at 6 minutes and 42 seconds from Larocque and Jenner. Larocque had a very good game for Canada. And it was right off the face-off. So this is a set play by the Canadians. And in the playoffs for the Stanley Cup, the Canadians were allowing goals on set plays by Vegas. So there's some rhyming here between the NHL and anyway. Is it a reach? Sure. It's fine. Doesn't matter. So Canada then presses for the lead. The shots were 13-10 at the halfway mark for the Americans. So halfway through the game, the shots are 13-10. But Canada goes back to the power play, and Canada was in control. So the shot clock would tell you the U.S. was up, but from here on, the Canadians do control the shot clock. Decker hurt her hand blocking a shot on a penalty kill. There was another Canadian power play that followed. Pulan drew 2 of those power plays for Canada, so good for her. Shorthanded break then for Coyne. Desbiens makes the save there. Decker then with a cross-check, no call, and it was on Pulan. So Decker and Pulan, that's a feud that's gone on for years. It's still there. Things get scrummy after Hensley save. It's the only time things got really scrummy at all in this game. At least where you're like, hey, that looks familiar. Hensley then stopped a Johnston chance. The USA clears it out. They get a chance as well with 4 minutes left. Canada with the pressure. Dow was robbed with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, and Brianna Jenner was robbed as well. Desbiens that makes a save at the buzzer. The shots are 22-16 Canada after 2. The problem is, as the buzzer sounds, one of the Canadian players was guilty of closing their hand on the puck. So that is a full power play for the U.S. to start the third period. And again, I'm really surprised this didn't bite the Canadians, because the USA can put out some pretty good players on that power play. There was a shorthanded 2-on-1. Jenner couldn't bury it. It was Pulan that was with her on that penalty kill break, and Pulan had chances as well. No shots for that U.S. power play, but then at 5:28, the U.S. gets another power play. So this is one of those, let's not keep giving them power plays, but they do. Knight had a shot that was saved. That was actually the first of the period for the Americans at 6:34, which shows you how strong that penalty kill was for the Canadians to that point. Desbiens then with a sprawling save on the next chance. Decker takes a penalty on the play, so we have a 4-on-4 for 47 seconds. Pulan then on the power play that followed had a chance that was saved. Rebound gets cleared, and the USA did kill that off. Johnston had a chance that was saved. The shots are 4-3 for Canada 9 minutes into the third period. Canadians played very well. Turnbull then had a backhander that went wide. U.S. gets another power play. That's their fourth, and it feels like the Canadians are playing with fire at this point. Carpenter was denied early in the power play. Canada kills it. U.S. presses with 6.5 minutes left. Big saves by Desbiens, who really rebounded from a slow start to this game. And then the U.S. draws a fifth power play with 4:39 left. So maybe don't keep doing that, but they did, and it was fine, I guess. Barnes fires one wide. Pulan with some shot blocks as well, and they did manage to kill it off. There was a near goal for Rattray with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. U.S. then countered with Hillary Knight's line, which was fast and dangerous, but Desbiens made some good saves. With 12.9 seconds left, the U.S. calls a timeout. Whatever play they wanted off that timeout, doesn't matter, we go to overtime. Overtime is 3-on-3 for 20 minutes. The odds of having a 20-minute 3-on-3, they're low, but in a gold medal game, you just never know, right? So no shootout in this one. End-to-end in that first minute, Phillip had a shot that was saved. Dow then with a net drive. Steckline misses one wide after a Canada turnover. Dow then with a backhand that goes high. No whistles at all in that first 5 minutes. It goes very quickly. Turnbull had a shot that was saved. Hensley held onto it. Decker couldn't bury one at the other end. She was trying to get that gold medal goal. Phillip then misses one high, and then Hensley ends up holding the puck again. I think she ended up with 31 saves in this game. Pulan thought she scored the gold medal winner. She celebrated while the referee did this. And it's not the first time in this tournament I've seen a referee go, nope, that wasn't in. And then it was. And it just bounced behind the line. It was in. It was behind the line. And so the buzzer sounds during the play. Canadian bench empties out. They know it means that that's a goal. That's the only reason you're going to hear that buzzer. and the game is over. Canada wins the gold medal, 3-2 over the Americans, who get silver in this. They won't be happy, and they'll use this as inspiration going into the Olympics, I'm sure. So the gold's clinched by Pulan. It's the first gold for Canada, I believe they said, since 2012. And so this ends American dominance, at least for now. The American team is so impressive. There were a lot of pretty good chances there. But Desbiens really recovered from what was a shaky few minutes in here. Of the 2 goals, one of those goals by Carpenter, I thought she probably should have had that. But she made enough saves the rest of the way that I'm not going to make any criticisms here. The U.S. best player in this game was Nicole Hensley, the goaltender. Again, no argument with that. The Canadians really did dominate that second half of the game. Once this game was tied, you could see the Canadians really, really wanted to win this one on home ice. Canada's best player, Marie-Phillip Pulan, she scores the overtime winner. Yeah, you've got to give her that, and she had the primary assist on Jenner's power play goal that made it 2-1. So she absolutely was the driving force, Captain Canada and all of that wonderful stuff. And it was a pretty good game. So if you didn't watch it, missed a pretty good game. I really did. I enjoyed this one. This was much easier to watch than the 5-1 drubbing Canada gave the U.S. during the preliminary round, where you could tell the U.S. was just kind of tuned out once that game got out of hand. This was a close game, and I don't expect that this will solve any of the feud between these two countries. And as we go into the Olympics in February, I'm kind of excited about that. So when we do get to the Olympics, just throwing it out there, as long as the NHLers are there, and we haven't heard for sure that the NHLers are going to be there. I know it's being reported that they are, but I haven't heard it through official sources. The NHL hasn't made an announcement officially as of yet. This week they're supposed to, but I will report on I'll report on the men and the women at the Olympics when we get there. And I will pay special attention to the American and Canadian teams on the women's side, because again, it feels like this is just going to be how the gold medal game ends up in the Olympics, and we're going to have to act like we're surprised when that's what happens. But let me know your thoughts if you watched this game, what you thought of the game overall. I thought it was a really good game. It was very enjoyable, and it's close, and it's an overtime winner. That 3-on-3 was pretty exciting, as 3-on-3s usually are. And yeah, not too shabby. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.